Hey, what's up, guys? Here in the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we got is hot. Here on Recap Tuesday, Season 9, Episode number 19 on the Fire Sports Pod. We're powered by Streamer, where Streamer makes the dream our go. So, guys, we're going to get into our show here. Excuse me, I'm a little under the weather. But we're going to get this thing rolling. We got a lot to get to in not a lot of time. It's going to be like a 20-25 minute episode. So let's get right into it as quickly as possible. Our first segment of the day, we're going to be going over the Cowboys draft as well as the first round, just recapping the first round and the top picks and kind of how I went in about 10 minutes. And then we're going to move into the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs. And then that will be pretty much it for our podcast today. All right, so let's get right into it. Without further ado, I'm going to share my screen and we will get into this. So first up, I'm actually going to start with just going over the picks in general from the NFL draft, just recapping the draft. So I think everyone agreed Fernando Mendoza was going number one. He did. He went to the Raiders. Um, like I said in my pre-draft analysis, I really thought this is a good move for the Raiders, and they made the right decision. David Bailey actually came for Texas Tech. He actually ended up going to the Jets. The Cardinals made a splash and took Jeremiah Love at running back. Again, I think it's definitely not a bad choice, but just shows that like Arizona is going for the win now, type of thing. They want to try to get this ball rolling or start off with a great talent and try to build around them. I think Jeremiah Love is that guy. I just think that it would have been better suited for the Tennessee Titans to take him, but Cardinals swept them away. Cardinal Tate, probably the best wide receiver in the draft, went number 4 to the Tennessee Titans. That helps out Cam Ward, which is a deep ball, a guy that he can get the ball to. He's not a big wide receiver, but he is probably the best wide receiver in this draft. Arville Reese goes to the Giants from Ohio State linebacker. This helps out the Giants big time. I think their linebacking core just needed a little bit more of a booster. Their front line is good. Their secondary is pretty good. I think they needed a little bit more of a linebacker. So I think this is a good move. Mensur Delaney went from LSU. This was actually the Cowboys pick, supposed to be at 11 or 13, but we ended up picking somebody else. So LSU cornerback went early to the Chiefs. Again, the Chiefs really needed to help out their cornerbacks and their defense because their defense was one of their strong suits. One of their front line was one of their strong suits, but they could not cover anybody. They were just giving up deep balls after deep balls. So I think this helps big time. Sonny Styles, linebacker again, Ohio State, going to Washington. They were very thin at the linebacker position, very also veteran-driven, bringing a young talent, a bull that ready to learn and ready to get things going. I think is great for the Commanders. Jordan Tyson, Arizona State, probably the second best wide receiver in the draft, behind Cardinal Tate from Arizona State. He's going to the Saints. I think this helps out Shao, which needs another number one threat next to Chris Olave. I think that was a great pick for them, and I like this a lot. Spencer Fanu, offensive tackle, goes to the Browns. This is big. Whoever's the quarterback, Shador or Deshaun Watson, both of them need protection. And I think Spencer Fano is going to be a really big time talent for the Browns. Francis, offensive tackle, goes to the Giants. Giants desperately needed that. They can't keep Jackson Dart from getting hit, and they need to open up the running lane. So I think this is a good pick. And then Cowboys traded up from 13, I believe, or from 12 to 11 to get Caleb Downs, safety. We desperately needed this. Was one of the biggest moves of the draft. I love this move by the Cowboys getting Caleb Downs. We'll go more into what the Cowboys picked later on, but this was a massive move, and this started out the draft pretty good for the Cowboys, and it continued later on in the draft. Caden Proctor, offensive tackle, going to Miami from Alabama. I know Tua's not there, but whoever's going to be the quarterback there, Malik Willis is the quarterback there. He's going to need protection. That was one of the biggest things when Tua was there. They could not protect the quarterback. Ty Simpson was picked early, 13th out of Alabama quarterback. He's going to the Rams. I think they're building for the future, knowing that this is probably the last year of Matthew Stafford and the last hurrah for the Rams right now. And I think bringing in a young quarterback to just kind of cushion it once he leaves, I think is a good take. Penn State offensive guard going to the Ravens. Definitely did protect Lamar Jackson. Lamar's been hurt a lot over the years. I think this is a very good move. Edge for Miami, Ruben Bain Jr. going to Tampa Bay. Tampa needed a little bit more help on defense this year. They let up a lot of points. They really relied on Baker coming back from games or going high scoring games to keep up with teams. Kenyon Sadiq, Oregon tight end. I think the Jets did really well in this draft. I think this was a good move. They definitely needed a tight end and a solid one. Blake Miller, offensive tackle, going to Detroit. They needed to protect Jared Goff last year. They couldn't. I think this is good. It opens up the running lanes as well for Gibbs. Caleb Banks, defensive tackle, going to the Vikings. Vikings, their defense and offense were both really bad last year, so I think this helps. Monroe Freeling, Georgia, offensive tackle, going to the Panthers just to kind of keep up with the offensive linemen and protecting Bryce Young. They one of the surprises last year, made it into the playoffs and actually really played really well against the Rams. Makai Lemon, wide receiver from USC. So this kind of made it seem feasible that the Eagles were going to end up giving up A.J. Brown because they just picked up a wide receiver. Hicks from the Packers signed him to a big deal, and then they just picked up another one in the draft. So they're most likely moving on from A.J. Brown very soon. Max Henneker, offensive tackle from Arizona State, going to Pittsburgh. I think that's a good pick. Hakeem Mazurder, a Miami edge, going to the Chargers. Helps out that defense. Their defense was atrocious. Malachi Lawrence, UCF edge. Big-time move again for Dallas. I love this move. Casey Concepcion, Texas A&M wide receiver, going to the Browns. Just help out Shador Deshaun with some new talent in there. Dylan Thyman, Oregon safety. I like this pick for the Bears. Keon Redledge, Georgia Tech offensive guard, going to the Texans to keep protection of C.J. Stroud. Chris Johnson, San Diego State's cornerback, going to Miami. Caleb Loom, Utah offensive tackle, going to the Patriots. Drake May, keeping them alive. Peter Woods, defensive tackle, boosted up that defense for the Kansas City Chiefs. Omar Cooper Jr., wide receiver from Indiana, in 30th. I think, again, the Jets had a great first round and for pretty much the entire draft. Kendrick Folk, Auburn edge. I like this for Tennessee. And then fading out the first round, Darian Rice, Notre Dame running back for Seattle. So that's pretty much a recap of the draft. I know I went pretty quick. But that's kind of where we're at with the draft. I liked a lot of the picks. The Jets did really well. They stood out. I think the Cowboys also did really well. They stood out. So, yeah, I think the Jets really stood out of everybody, the Jets and the Cowboys. And I'm not just saying because Cowboys, but we did really good. Now, going over now just sticking with this, just going over the people that the Cowboys picked. So we got Caleb Downs, like I said, number 11 overall. We traded with Miami. We also went back in the draft to trade with Philadelphia to get the 23rd overall pick to get Malachi Lawrence. And then we got Jashawn Barham, linebacker from Michigan, in the 3rd round. Drew Schulten, offensive tackle from Penn State, in the 4th round. Devin Moore, cornerback, in the 4th round. LT Overton, defensive lineman, in the 4th round as well. And then we got Anthony Smith, from Eastern Carolina, wide receiver, in the 7th round. And then we also picked up D. Winters, linebacker, acquired via trade with the 49ers on draft day. So we did really top-heavy of defense. We got one offensive tackle and one wide receiver, and everybody else was on defense. This draft was defense-oriented, and this is what we've been waiting for the Cowboys when it comes to Jerry Jones making the right decisions. He usually does pretty well in the draft. I know I bashed him when we first were doing the pre-draft analysis. He does pretty well. This is just questionable decisions sometimes, where I just didn't see. I definitely didn't see the vision that he had, but I think he did really well. And excuse me. And I think the Cowboys are poised for a big run next year if they're able to get everybody situated, the George Pickens situation, all that. So Jerry Jones made good on his decisions in the draft. Now, moving on, we're going to go to the NBA playoffs. Because, man, a lot that happened. So here's the new and improved We got a game going on right now between the Celtics and the 76ers. Celtics are up 31-29 on the Sixers in the first half. They're up 3-1. I have them closing it out tonight and moving on to the second round to play the winner of the Knicks and the Hawks. That series is tied up 2 games apiece. The Knicks, I got the Knicks winning tonight against the Hawks, but they're going to have a gritty, hard fall. This might go 7, and they're going to have to win in Madison Square Garden in Game 7, which would give the Celtics time to rest and everything. I think the Celtics were eventually going to beat the Knicks to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. Then we have the Raptors and the Cavs. Raptors came out of nowhere. I thought the Cavs were going to win in 6. They still have a chance to win in 6, but the Cavs, the last 2 games away from home, played absolutely terrible. Donovan and James Harden really had very inconsistent nights of the past 2 games. First 2 games, they were over 25 in each game, and they couldn't get over. I think both of them got under 25 in the last 2 games. So this is going to be an interesting series. I think the Cavs still win in 6. Pistons up 3 games to losing down 3-1 to the Magic. I still got faith in the Pistons, but man, it's not looking too good. But I definitely think the Pistons win and force a game 6. But damn, it's going to be tough. They're going to have to come back from 3-1 to just beat the Magic, and then going to have to play the Cavs. It's going to be a tough series. If they're able to make it to the Eastern Conference, it's going to be a very tall task. But I think the Pistons are still poised to make it to the Eastern Conference, but I don't have them beating the Celtics. I think the Celtics will eventually make the NBA Finals because they're just that damn good. I mean, they torched the 76ers, and they didn't even look like they were breaking a sweat out there. So that's pretty much that. I still got the Pistons winning the series. Obviously, I thought this series would be done in 5 or 6, but I guess it's going to go 7. Cavaliers, Raptors. I like the Cavs still winning in 6. I think the Knicks win in 7 here, and then I think the Celtics close it out tonight. So it'll be Celtics, Knicks, Pistons, Cavs. Here, Thunder swept them last night, 131-122. Shea had unbelievable games in this series. Devin Booker, big question mark. Is he going to stay with Phoenix? Is his time in Phoenix limited? Because he just can't get over the hump. The Suns just can't do anything. And he's just not coming up. I need him to be dominant. I need him to want the ball, to take the ball, and to take all the shots. He's the best player on the floor, the best player on the team. Got to do that. So Thunder handled them pretty easily. Suns tried it their best at home, but just couldn't get the job done. Lakers, Rockets. Lakers, surprise of the playoffs, going up 3-0 in this series. It's back at home tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern time. And this is where champions are made. Got to close them out. We're playing the Thunder next. Got to close them out now to give us time and rest to be able to take down the Thunder, get Luka back. Austin Reeves possibly is playing in this game in Game 5 tomorrow night. No matter what, Lakers got to win tomorrow. If Kevin Durant plays or not, they got to win tomorrow. I think LeBron's going to come back from a pretty bad Game 4. Lakers in general had a bad Game 4, and they're going to come back and win. And then it's a date with the defending champs in OKC and probably the second year in a row MVP Shea. And then Nuggets, Timberwolves. This series has turned into a crazy turn of events. Last game, they lost Dante DiVincenzo. 2 games ago, they lost Dante DiVincenzo to an Achilles injury. Towards Achilles, out for the season, out for the rest of the playoffs. And then Anthony Edwards has a bone bruise and hyperextended his knee. He's out indefinitely for this series and possibly midway through the next series if they even make it. Minnesota actually was playing really good in the second half against the Nuggets last night, but they just could not. Their first half turnovers just killed them. They were down big, and they just could not come back. So I still think the Timberwolves actually win this series, but I think they have to do it tomorrow. If they do not do it tomorrow, or 2 days from now, Thursday, if they do not do it Thursday, Nuggets are winning in 7 games. Just because it's just you're not gonna win in Denver in Game 7. I don't think so. They gotta win now in Minnesota. So I think Timberwolves still get the job done and advance into the next round. Will it be better to have Nuggets versus Spurs? Yeah, because the Nuggets are fully healthy and the Timberwolves are not. But I still got faith in the Timberwolves. That they were my pick to make it to the next round, so I'm gonna stick with them. Spurs, Trailblazers. I think it ends tonight. Trailblazers have played the Spurs pretty tough in all these games. They had it last game on Sunday. They just turned the ball over a lot of missed shots. a lot of the unnecessary taking shots, and I think that just ultimately happened with their demise. Like the Spurs came back from 19 down in the second half, and they were able to win by 21. So I think the Spurs get it tonight. They win in a gentleman's sweep. And I think it's the Spurs versus the Nuggets, Lakers versus Thunder, and may the best team win between this series and that series. But wouldn't be surprised if the Nuggets come back in the series from 3 games to 1 down and beat the Timberwolves just because of Dante and Anthony Edwards going down. But that's pretty much a recap of the NBA playoffs. It has been a crazy run so far, and it's just the first round. Cannot wait to see what happens in this round and the rounds to come. But now we are now going to turn our attention to the NHL bracket, because that is another crazy situation. So we're going to share our screen, and this will be the last segment today on the podcast. All right, guys, in the NHL, we have a insane playoffs so far. Colorado swept the LA Kings very, very easily. It was not even a question over there. LA just didn't have enough. Colorado was just too dominant, too many shots on goal, and they just put metal to the pedal, and they got the job done in a sweep. Dallas and Minnesota tied up 2 games apiece. I have Dallas advancing in this series, but this series might go 7. I believe I picked Dallas to win in 7, so I believe still Dallas wins and play Colorado in round 2. Vegas and Utah, as expected, tied up. I got Utah winning this series, I believe also in 7 games. Ducks have a 3-1 lead over the Oilers. Who would have thought that? I thought this was going to be a 6 to 7 game series, but I had the Ducks winning anyways, so I think the Oilers come back and win this game. Game 5, and then the Ducks close it out in game 6. I think Utah wins in 7, and I think Dallas wins in 7. And that will be a matchup between Colorado and the Stars, and Utah and the Ducks. And then in this game, unfortunately, the Boston Bruins are not playing their best hockey. They had opportunities. First game, up 3-1, get outscored in the third period, 3 goals, and they lose 4-3. Right there, it's a 3-2 series. I think Buffalo closes them out in 5. Sadly, Montreal versus Tampa. This series is going 7. Montreal's winning this series. Carolina already swept Ottawa very easily, 4-0 in that series, and they're awaiting the winner of the Pittsburgh and Flyers. Flyers were up 3-0 in this series, and now it's 3 games to 2. I don't know what is happening with the Flyers, but they better make sure they get this win in Game 6, because if it goes to a Game 7 and you got Sidney Crosby there, don't be surprised if the Penguins come back from 3-0 down and beat the Flyers. But I still think the Flyers win, so it will be a date between Hurricanes and the Flyers, and it will be the Buffalo Sabres versus the Montreal Canadiens, which is going to be a hell of a series. But yeah, man, it's been a pretty crazy ride so far, and we're only in the first round of the NBA and NHL playoffs. I just think that there's way more to come. We are going to be in awe of how well this playoffs for both these leagues are going to end, and who the top teams are going to get the job done. But yeah, guys, it was a quick episode. We had a lot in this episode, recapping the NFL draft first round, as well as the Cowboys picks and who were kind of the sleepers and who did really well in this draft. And like I said, I think it's the Jets took it away, as well as the Cowboys as well, just doing what they needed to do from last year's collapse. And then NBA playoffs, just recapping everything that happened, and then the NHL. So that's pretty much it, guys, here on the Fire Sports Pod. Again, we are powered by StreamYard, where StreamYard makes the dream yard go. I'm your host, Zack Jackson, here on Recap Tuesday, Season 9, Episode 19. Hope you guys all enjoyed it. We'll catch you guys later on Thursday for Season 9, Episode number 20 of the Fire Sports Pod. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you guys on Thursday. Peace out.